What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another venture with the Bearded Bobber, and this is episode 11 of the Big Sturgis trip. Yes, it's been quite a while. We're almost through. We're on that home stretch right now. First thing first, the Rockies were absolutely breathtaking, and we didn't even hit all the good spots. Just some spots along our route home. Now, before we get into just the Rockies, I didn't get any footage of us leaving Lead, South Dakota. Yes, I know, and it's very unfortunate. You guys did see the last episode. I was just talking about the guys and their bikes in the garage and kind of that final moment, but I didn't get that farewell to the house moment. Just one of those things didn't happen. One of the coolest things about this trip was riding with people we've been talking with online or have rode with before. Now, like with Lawson, we've been talking to him, but he's on the East Coast. Meatball and myself are on the West Coast. D's is down in Texas. Riding Fish had barely rode with before. He came up from Minnesota with Big Gabe. Oki and I have ridden together a couple times. He came from Oklahoma. You know, we got to see a bunch of people that we've been talking to all year and being able to actually ride with them. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it was truly amazing. So leaving the house, it was Christopher David Lawson of NEPA, Dirty D's, Meatball, Rebel, and myself. Now, Riding Fish and Big Gabe had left before us that early that morning, and of course they were able to get home in the same day. But they also, if I remember right, they had work that night. I don't know. You can tell me if so, Fish. So we kind of thought the four of us would get to ride together a little bit. You know, Lawson, D's, Meatball, and myself, and then split off accordingly. First gas station right there in Lead, only a few miles from the house, and Lawson's directions are taking him the other way. It sucked, but you know, we said our goodbyes, you know, did our thing, and hit the road. Now, Dirty D's was able to stick along the ride with us until we hit Denver, Colorado. We rode through into Wyoming and dropped down to Colorado. We had stopped for gas in Wyoming, small little spot in Wyoming. Grabbed ourselves some drinks and some Pop-Tarts, you know, breakfast of champions, of course. We're standing there shooting the shit with some bikers that found out we're from Bullhead City, Arizona. Totally made a joke about it, saying I'm sorry because I lived in Kingman. And it's funny because he's making the joke that I'm saying it being from Kingman and he's from Bullhead. It's totally funny. If you know the area, if you've ever been to Laughlin River Run, Bullhead City is the city across the river. Yes. So we're doing that, and here comes this 116 Indian Springfield Darkhorse. Now, the 116 was a big bore kit on this Springfield, and who is it? It's Curtis of Indian Rider Radio Podcast. Yeah, dude pulls up, and it's completely different from seeing Mr. Podcast out in front, salesman style, you know, of the Indian department. And he's got his vests on and his jeans, and you can tell he's ready to rock. He rides the hell out of that machine. You know, when we were hanging out with him in Sturgis, Indian, did the podcast is over on his YouTube channel. He went live while we were there. You can check that out on his channel of Indian Rider Radio, and also go check out his podcast, guys. If you like Indian motorcycles, if you like motorcycles, you're going to enjoy this podcast. Curtis is fantastic. He's a great guy. I myself have been on the podcast. If you guys haven't caught that before, not just while we were up there, but I was on his podcast before that, talking about King of Baggers, and you know, this fact that I own an Indian Challenger and Indian Motorcycle World and things of that nature. So it was a lot of fun to get to do that. He's talked to the racers, Tyler O'Hare, and there I could go on and on and on about the stuff he's had over there on the Indian Rider Radio podcast, including Riding Fish, hosting the after hours with him, doing the live stuff on YouTube. Totally badass. So definitely go check that out. Now from there we headed on a small boring stretch. Felt like it could go on forever. on our way to Denver. Now, before we hit Denver, we stopped at a Chick-fil-A. I was having a pretty rough day. I had spilled gas on myself. That was not fun at all, let me tell you. And then we went over to Chick-fil-A, and of course you have to order at the door. We're at the very back of the building, and there's a small stretch of like sidewalk and this little wall. Manager comes out and tells us we cannot be on Chick-fil-A property after ordering our food. We cannot be sitting there to eat. We're literally 2 steps away from the parking lot. I was like, can I step right there? She says yes. Wow. Good to know. Now we understand it's to stop other people from trying to do it and all this other stuff, but so we end up sitting in the parking lot eating our chicken nuggies and before we get back on the road. This was, of course, the last moment we thought we were going to be hanging out before splitting our ways, but a little piece came loose on Meatball's bobber, and now I had got a toolkit for this. I swear I got 2 toolkits, made sure they're the metric tools, like all the things. When I grabbed this toolkit thinking it was the better toolkit, when I went to Cycle Gear, it was apparently missing one Allen that the other one wasn't, and that's how we ended up not having the tool. But trusty Dirty D's had one in his tool, and of course we have the jokes going around with the Harley and the Indian and all that stuff, and there's a Harley dealer that we could see from the freeway. It was like, nope. Sure enough though, we fixed it, and you know, that was just one of those, it's a road trip. That's what one of these things is. It's gonna happen, and it did. So we start heading towards Denver, and we had no plans to stop in Denver. Dirty D's, this is the spot where he would be leaving us, and Meepo and I would be back on our lonesomes. So just be the 2 of us again, and you know, we wave off as the freeways depart our destinations, and we drop down to go through the Rockies, and he's dropping down to head towards Texas. And yeah, so with D's on his way to Denver, or to Texas, and like I just said, Meatball and I are on our way to Dillon, Colorado. Now, I don't know if it was the long day I had before, or just the long, boring stretch of road that we hit before getting to the Rockies. Man, the stretch of the Rockies that we hit before Dillon was absolutely beautiful. I had this moment that just overtook me. If you listen to country, there's a song by George Strait, and it's called Where I'm messing everything up tonight. Where have I been all my life? Well, that song came across my radio while my thoughts were wandering, and I'm in this like surreal moment, thinking, you know, my dad's ridden this road on his way to Sturgis, or on his way back. You know, my mom's ridden this road. Maybe they thought the same thing at the same time, or at the very least, had that feeling rush over them with the beauty of the scenery before them. You know, and I thought that was just like this like real thing, and it just really like took me over. Not, you know, both of them had been traveling all their life, and of course things are going to be different for them on the road, but there was something about this area and the way it hit me when we first led into it. Like I said, it could have been the long day and just having a beautiful scenery instead of not having a beautiful scenery, but you know, my dad talks about going to Sturgis, and he talks about going through the Rockies and watch out for black ice, and all times of the year you could be hitting all kinds of different kinds of weather. But I mean, it's just breathtaking, and I know they traveled a lot and they absolutely loved it, and it just kind of was like my moment in the sun. If that I don't know, maybe that's making sense, maybe it's not. Well, YouTube, me and Meatball were a little behind today, and we just stopped to get gas, had a mental break, double checked the bikes. I can hear him in my head, so I had to turn him down. Now, we were like, all right, let's get on the road. Let's start crushing these miles so we can get to our hotel, relax. Meatball found a bitchin' place in Utah, in Bluff, Utah. And yeah, we got about 2 miles. And then we hit whatever the hell this is. So we're just kind of hanging out in the Rockies. Whoa. Yeah, it's windy as shit. Hey, now I see cars coming this way. Maybe it'll make sense. Did stop and talk to a bunch of people who really enjoyed looking at the Challenger and of course Meatball's bobber. I don't know how well you can hear this since the mic is in front of me, but yeah, we're enjoying the sights. And we're kind of forced to right now, so it's a different change of pace. Some good shots though. Too bad I'm not taking pictures. There we go. And I really couldn't get enough of the Rockies. I can tell you guys that right now. I loved all of it. I wish I would have filmed more of it. If you guys are watching, I mean, even the spots that might look dull, the fact that there's probably people that go through this on a day-to-day and it's just boring to them, I don't know. That sounds crazy to me. But anyway, we get to our hotel in Dillon, Colorado, and then there's this beautiful lake right there by our hotel. And it was just like that moment of like, hey, it's been just this insanely long day. At one point I had gas on me, and you know, all these things are just coming around through my head, and I'm just like, there's this lake, and there's this beautiful scenery I just rode through, even though I had the wrong gloves on. And it was just crazy. And yeah, I had 4 gloves with me. I had my winter gloves, I had the gloves that I think you can see through most of this because I was smart enough to put on my like next ones up, my Indian gloves that were not super breathable, but not like my other mesh ones that I have that, you know, let in a grip of air, and when it's cold air, you really feel it. So doing that, and you know, and I think it's on my Instagram, but I had that whole, no matter what gets in front of you on a road trip, the little bumps in the road are not going to be, they're not going to outweigh the good. And there's so much good that you really start to just forget all the bullshit that may have come along with the trip itself, you know. And I think that was just that real moment. You're really, you know, I'm sitting on the bike, Meatball's checking us in the hotel, and I'm just kind of like, you know, breathing it in. You know, I go to talk to Bombshell on the phone, and you know, we talked like during the trip every day. I don't want you to think it was like, aha, it's been a couple days. No, you know, just kind of share that moment with her, and the fact that we're just trying to settle in, and we go over to the little eatery at the hotel, and of course it's all outside dining, but it was this beautiful, like crisp cold in the air. Everything just felt really nice. So like we sit down, we ended up having I'm a little fuzzy on this part because we both had a white cheddar mac and cheese with one with pulled pork and one with brisket. I believe I had the pulled pork, some fresh root beer, and it was just a great moment, and it was a really good atmosphere. The people there were super nice, and I think everybody's just trying to, you know, get through and try to get by. Now that was the day I don't have on footage, but so we wake up early, kind of early. We didn't have a whole long way to go this day, but we were getting to go through some beautiful sights in the Rockies. And unfortunately, we didn't get to go make a thing of the Rockies. The Rockies just was a beautiful path that we got to take on our way to Utah. Now, unfortunately, we looked at the map, and one section of the freeway that we were going to take was blocked. They were saying there was this detour, and on Google Maps it was saying like I can't even remember how many miles of dirt and gravel it was, but like we were getting mixed reviews from all the maps and stuff like that. Now, so at this point, with the idea of the detour and everything else, honestly, the only thing it was really doing was putting us towards Moab, Utah. Now, to us, that was like, okay, we could take this other route. Mileage is the same. It looks like we get a little bit more windy roads, and it's still going to get us to Bluff, Utah, which is where we were heading. So that's the way we went. We didn't think too much about it. You know, we wanted to make sure we had a good road, and we weren't worrying about too much other stuff, considering that was mainly just big highway, as you know. Anyway, a little bit more windy roads, definitely better for a bike trip. Even though the highway that we had touched already going through the Rockies was absolutely gorgeous. Now, we did cruise through here, and we ended up stopping at a gas station, and there was two bikers there. One was on a Harley Breakout, and another one on, I can't, I'm totally spacing this at the moment. It was the Yamaha fixed fairing bagger. It's the something Venture, or I'm sorry, I don't remember. Hopefully I'll throw it on the screen right now for you guys. But absolutely cool looking bagger. I really like that one myself. I think it's a great looking bike. Some people like it, some people don't, but that's the name of the game. Now, so I'm just talking to these guys, and we're just shooting the shit for a minute, and they're telling us that they read this, you know, the 5 roads that you need to ride in the Rockies, Denver, Colorado, or well, in Colorado. And it was like, what? You know, and that just got us thinking, like, we've barely been on the Rockies for less than 24 hours, and we already want to come back. Like, this has been a fantastic trip. Curtis from Indian Rider Radio was telling us how they're going to be doing this big thing through Colorado, and it was like, oh man, there's so many things that we want to do. So that just made us know, all right, we got a plan just to do this. Like, that's the cool thing about this trip, is we went through so many different areas, but now we know you want to spend time individually through them. They're all big, beautiful sky states. The roads were absolutely fantastic. The lack of traffic for me was just amazing. I remember before we were actually heading out for this trip, with Meatball and I planning back and forth, he was like, hey, just remember, California is the only state that we can lane split in. And I'm like, that's fine. There's not that many people in the other states. And yeah, I'm not joking. California can be a total cluster, and lane splitting has helped me countless times of staying out of the heat and staying away from cars, and I'm totally for it. Now, all these other states, we did have to pull over a couple times, but they're 2-lane highways, and they're doing road construction. There's no way to get around that. But other than that, we had no real issues needing to lane split. And for me, I was only in California, for the first part of the morning until I hit state line after going around Death Valley. So it wasn't bad at all. Actually, the worst part of traffic I probably hit wasn't even cluster, it was just idiots, and that was right at state line. I think I talked about it in the first video of a Corvette almost, just deciding that my lane was his lane and he wanted to take it. So that was just a bunch of crap. But knowing, what we know now is I definitely want to plan just a trip to Colorado. Hit all these roads that they're talking about, and not just for Colorado. I'll probably talk about this again in the next episode. But with with Utah, I still want to see Zion National Park, and I really think Zion is going to be one of the biggest ones that I'm looking forward to, as just a place to go, not a bike show or something like that, but just a place that I want to go ride through and really be able to just soak in the whole thing. Whit Mays just went through it. She was totally cool to meet while we were in Sturgis, and super jealous. She's gotten to do a bunch of cool rides that I didn't get to do. One riding Fish has talked about was the Beartooth Pass that she drove. Also, just another one that shows that we need to get up to Montana and Wyoming and some of the best riding that I had along the trip. And I'm gonna need to bring some cameras for like Highway 296, because that's when I'm hitting again. And you know, there's so many. This trip was really eye-opening to show that how much I haven't seen. Now, growing up, I've gone across country. I've been to like 45 states roughly, missing like Florida, some states above New York, Alaska. But other than that, more than anything right now, like I want to ride them all and be able to soak them in. There was one thing I heard them talking about was 48 states in 10 days. And I don't know what it is about that doesn't appeal to me. Now the 1K in a day, that appeals to me. Like I'm totally down to do one of those, and hopefully we'll do one of those in the near future. But 48 states in 10 days, I feel like it's just a blink and it's over. You know, I don't know if I could see myself pulling that one out. But just being able to see all these sites, and there's a lot of people that come to California and do the same thing, where, you know, I may look over them, but I've done the same thing. I went up PCH, I went through little back roads through like Malibu area that, you know, these are small shortcuts that people take along their day just to get to work. And I'm sitting there like, man, I wish this wasn't so far away from home. I would go hit this road every day. The same thing for me, like Oak Glen, California. Small road between Yucaipa and Beaumont, but it's such a fun, like 20-minute ride for me, and it's one of the ones that you could, like, you know, go do something for the day and bring that back, and it just feels, you know, superb. And I can't even tell you guys how much more footage I did have from the second day of the Rockies, but all this was absolutely gorgeous. So much green and big roads and big sky. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record at this point, but this was just some of the best riding. Was, I'd have to say, Colorado, South Dakota alone. I mean, you guys already know, just fantastic roads. Oh, okay, right here, this little, see that little spot right there? Hopefully the audio is lining up, because I do gotta edit a little part. But me and Meatball were just talking on the thing. Just hit it, man. Just jump, you know, right up that damn thing. But South Dakota, of course, I mean, amazing roads. Go there anytime. It doesn't have to be Sturgis, and I think you guys will have an absolute blast. Colorado, Idaho had some beautiful roads. Wyoming, Montana. Wyoming had some boring roads too, but you know, that's part of the day-to-day. And then Montana we barely touched, and I've heard nothing but good things about some of the roads up there. But you guys, I mean, you can clearly see from the screen if you're looking and listening at the same time. Absolutely gorgeous. And they're not these like tight technical turns, which can be like overwhelming. But I don't know, this was absolutely gorgeous, you guys. I cannot wait to get back to Colorado and hopefully do some more of this as well. On the next episode, you guys will be seeing some of Utah. Unfortunately, after that, I didn't get a whole lot, but you guys will see that coming up. So we'll talk about that in the next video as soon as that comes out. So, alright guys, I'm going to get out of here before I just keep rambling, and I'm going to watch some of this myself, because I absolutely love it. And that's the whole reason of recording when you're riding, guys. Like, if you haven't done it yet, I think, you know, even if you don't want to make YouTube videos, film some of your rides, throw some music on it with a basic editor, and watch it on the big screen. I'm going to be doing that. And I may not listen to my voice the whole time, because I may watch it about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, who knows how many times. But that's one of the cool things about doing this. I've watched my PCH ones over and over again. And especially if you guys are in some of the winter areas, that might help as well. If not, hopefully you guys are over on my channel looking at some of the views I had during the summer, and hopefully that helps get you through that winter chill. Alright guys, I'm going to get out of here. Stay safe, stay classy, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
I know you filming the sun, buddy. Now you filming the ground. Oh, that's private stuff there. Don't get me started.
We got up to We got out of where were we? Lead